So I got a new phone a couple of weeks ago. I went ahead, I splurged a little bit, and I got the iPhone X. You know, I kind of want to discuss with you whether or not I actually think it is worth the $1,000 that it costs up front. Now, I decided, because I do have Verizon for my phone carrier, and they do the payment plan thing, where basically they break up the price of the phone, 0% APR, into 2 years worth of monthly payments. But now me, I originally, before I even bought this phone, I had the iPhone SE, which is basically the iPhone 5S, but it has like the computer chips and stuff from the iPhone 7, I believe it is. So me going from that to the iPhone X was a really big leap, and that is part of the reason why I justified it. But I think if you're coming from something like the even the iPhone 6, but much less the iPhone 7 or the iPhone 8, I would not justify going with the iPhone X. So before I really get into this video, I do want to say I am not a gear reviewing channel. I do not specialize in this type of stuff, so this is literally going to be a review from the consumer. As somebody who uses this phone on a daily basis, what do I think of it? Now, there are some things that I do find kind of cool about the phone. I do like that it doesn't have the home button, and it's honestly not that hard to use. Basically, instead of having the home button, you just swipe up from the bottom of the screen, and that is basically your home button. And I do kind of like that. Now, I don't use the facial recognition thing for unlocking. I do like the thumbprint scanner as opposed to the facial recognition thing, because I don't use it, because a lot of the times during the day when I'm unlocking my phone, a lot of the times I'm not really looking at my phone, like it'll be sitting on the floor or something. So I actually have the facial recognition thing turned off because, you know, I don't use it. So that wasn't really a selling point for me. And same with like the emojis that you can use that recognize your face, that you can use in like the text messages. Like, it's kind of cool to mess around with, but I don't actually use it. It's just kind of stupid, in my opinion. It's kind of one of those useless features that you're never actually going to use. And one thing that is pretty cool, because I'm really big into cars and motorcycles, as you can tell, so I go to like a lot of car shows. I like to take pictures of cars. Now, the camera, I have no clue what number of megapixels it is, but it takes some incredible pictures, because it has the dual camera, and I know the iPhone 8 Plus has the dual cameras. I don't think the regular iPhone 8 has it, but it has the dual camera, so it has like the field of view and like the depth perception to it that's able to get you some really good focus. But so if you're someone who's really big into taking pictures, you take a lot of pictures and you want some really good quality ones, iPhone X is definitely very good at that. Another thing that I think is actually really cool that you honestly don't really notice unless you have your phone up next to another phone. With the OLED screen, it automatically adjusts the color to your surrounding. So if you're out in the sun, like the temperature, like the color temperature of the screen will actually be different than if you're in like a room with like fluorescent lights or something. So depending on the type of light and the brightness of the light that you are in, the screen will automatically adjust to that. And that is actually something that I really do notice, and I really do like that. And that also kind of brings up the topic of the OLED screen. It's LED as opposed to LCD that most other phones are, and I'm pretty sure Samsung has already been using this type of screen. But that's actually something that I honestly really don't notice a difference between the LED as opposed to some other types of screens. Because like I said, I went from the iPhone SE to the iPhone X, and actually like holding the phones up next to each other, or like even just like looking at one then looking at the other, a lot of the times I don't really tell the difference. Another feature that the iPhone X has is the whole wireless charging capabilities. Now, the wireless charger actually isn't something that comes with the phone. It is just a capability it has that if you want to invest in a wireless charger, you can. However, I don't really see that being something that I would ever use, because a lot of the times if I ever have my phone charging, I like having it on the cord so that I can pick it up and still use it while it is charging. I have one of my charging cables next to my bed. I have one of those like 10-foot chargers, so you know I can sit there playing Xbox or something and I can, you know, still pick up my phone and use it while it's charging. But really, unless you're going to be leaving your phone alone for as long as it needs to charge, I just don't see a wireless charger being useful. To some people it may be a useful option, but to me it's not something that I would ever really use. Another thing, going from having a a headphone jack to not having a headphone jack, there's only one time that was ever a problem for me. See, at work I have a pair of Bluetooth earbuds, and I use those all the time at work. They're fantastic because, you know, I'm not having to deal with, you know, rolling around in a bunch of cords and getting all tangled up and stuff. But then at home, I wanted to listen to some music with my earbuds, and I have a pair of earbuds that would require a headphone jack. But I ended up misplacing the little adapter. I couldn't find the headphone, like the 3.5mm to lightning adapter. And so I'm just tearing apart my room trying to find that thing. And it took me a long time, but yeah, had the phone had a headphone jack, I wouldn't have had to go looking for the little adapter. So that was only really a problem one time. Other than that, I do not miss having the headphone jack. So it's not as big of a problem as most people make it out to be, at least not for me at least. And like I said, one of the big reasons that I went ahead and got this phone is because it is vastly different than the phone that I had before. So I am getting a lot of features on this phone that my phone did not previously have. One of those being the whole 3D touch thing, where the screen is actually pressure sensitive. My phone didn't have that, and 3D touch actually is a pretty big part of the iPhone X. For example, so when you wake your phone up, in order to turn on the flashlight, so you know you don't really have the home button, and rather than swiping up from the bottom of the screen to bring up like your control center, there's actually a little flashlight icon. Now if you were to just tap it regularly, it wouldn't turn on, so you tap it and you press. You use the 3D touch and it'll come on. Your flashlight button on the left side, and then on the right side of the screen you have the camera button. So you press it and you actually use the 3D touch, and then that'll bring up your camera. So rather than having to swipe up from the bottom of the screen in order to get it, it's just right there. You just 3D touch it and you get either your camera or your flashlight. Another thing that's different, as I said, on most other iPhones, in order to get to your control center where you have like your flashlight, your music, stuff like that, you don't swipe up from the bottom of the screen. It's actually at the top right part of the screen, kind of next to the notch. So you start up there and you swipe down, and that's how you get all of your control center stuff. Because as I said earlier in the video, swiping up from the bottom of the screen is how you go home. See, this is actually a really fun road to take kind of fast, but we have a bunch of slow people. And this is a park. And that is a park ranger up ahead there, and I don't think he would like it if I just went tearing past everyone. And something I do want to touch on, because this phone basically is an entirely glass phone. The front and the back of the phone is made out of glass. A lot of people like to make a big deal of that. I know when I went to go buy the phone, the guy at the store, he was like, oh, you know, you need to make sure and get case, and you need to make sure you get a screen protector, because, you know, this is a glass phone. And you know, if you drop it once, it's gonna shatter into 5 million pieces. Now, when I bought the phone, I did get one of those tempered screen protectors, but I didn't buy a case at first. Because, you know, understandably buying that sort of stuff from the store, you know, from your carrier store, they're gonna have that price jacked way up. So at the store, I just went ahead and got one of those little tempered screen protectors. I'm actually gonna pull up ahead over here. And we're gonna look at this sort of stuff, because this is actually a really cool place. If you haven't been to Nebraska, I know a lot of my subscribers right now are my friends. So you guys have probably been here before, but this is called Pioneers Park. This is a big park out kind of west of town a little bit. And they have all sorts of nature center stuff. So it looks like we have some elk. Yeah, I think that's an elk. And then they have like bison around here. This is kind of like a big habitat sort of place. But this is a really cool place. They have, like I said, they have a big nature center where you can go and explore a bunch of stuff. They have a bunch of trails down that way. Because I like to come up here and ride a lot. And I like running laps all around this park. And my roommate, he has a 2016 Scat Pack Shaker Challenger. He met me up here at one point. We took some pictures. We were kind of driving around. And then we went and walked on the trails for a little bit. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool place. But yeah, the Lincoln Airport is pretty close by. Oh, I don't know, close is kind of a strong word. But it's in the general vicinity. I'd say it's within maybe 5 miles. And so planes do end up kind of flying overhead here. And then we have a National Guard base pretty close by to the Lincoln Airport. So you'll see a bunch of fighter jets and stuff like practicing out here. Pretty cool place. If you ever actually come out to Lincoln or Nebraska in general, the southeastern part of Nebraska, I highly recommend checking this place out. But so going back to the whole thing about it's an entirely glass phone, I have never actually broken a phone before. Now, I work as an auto body tech, so I'm pretty rugged with my stuff. And like I said, I've never broken a phone. Like, my phone gets dropped probably at least once a week. I did have an OtterBox on my phone, on my previous phone, the iPhone SE. I had an OtterBox on that. Yeah, here's the nature center, and then they have some trails right up here through this gate, and then there's kind of another building down in there where you can actually, like, they have like snakes and big tanks and stuff like that, and they have all sorts of animals and whatnot. They have golf course, apparently. I actually forgot about that. But then, yeah, they have like hiking trails and bike trails and stuff, horse trails. It's a really big park. It really is. I honestly really don't have any worries about breaking this phone. One of the videos, like I said, I did some research before I bought this phone. One of the videos is kind of talking about how durable is it, and the guy is, you know, trying to scratch the glass. He's trying to scratch the phone. And he was talking about how it is a pretty hard glass. It is harder than most of the other glasses the iPhone uses, and so it's pretty hard to scratch. And I think he said from the looks of it, it would be pretty hard to break too. So it would have to take a pretty hard fall. And with me never having broken a phone before, which again, I really don't understand how people manage to break their phones so easily. But I honestly, like I said, I don't have any worries about accidentally breaking this phone. So, with all of this being said, and you know, I said I did the 24-month 0 APR financing through Verizon for this phone. So my total phone bill is about $108 a month. Now, I was also doing the payment plan on the iPhone SE. My phone bill with that was about $92 a month. So really, it's only about $15, $16 more a month for this iPhone X than for my iPhone SE. So, in closing, do I think it is worth $1,000? I'm gonna say not quite. I do think it is a very fantastic phone. I enjoy it a lot. However, I just think in general, phones are way too expensive, because I was actually looking at getting away from iPhone, and I was looking at getting like the Samsung Note 8 or something like that, or the Galaxy S8, and it's pretty much the same price. It's $800, $900 for that phone. I might as well go ahead, stick with something I'm comfortable with, because I'm very comfortable with Apple products. I've had iPod Touches and iPhones, MacBooks, iPads, stuff like that. I've had them for years and years. I'm very comfortable with the iOS layout. Oh shit, that was one of those big woolly bear caterpillars. I almost ran that bitch over. Poor guy, get out of the road. But so I'm comfortable with iPhone. I'd rather stick with iPhone, and I kind of wanted to get some a little bit different than what I had, which is why I didn't go with the iPhone 8. So with it only being about $15, $16 more a month, I justified getting the X, but I do think it is a little overpriced. So I do recommend the phone. However, I think it is a bit expensive for what it is. But I think phones in general are expensive, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. But yeah, if you have something like the iPhone 7, or even if you got the iPhone 8, I wouldn't justify the iPhone X, because really, aside from not having a home button and a few of just the different navigation things, it's not really going to have anything all that much different than what you already have. But if you're someone like me who's going from essentially an iPhone 5 and getting a new phone because I was done making the payments and my bill came down, in that case, if you want to get the iPhone X, I would justify it. Just understand it is going to be pretty expensive, which aside from that cost, I think the phone is definitely worth the investment. It is a fantastic phone. I enjoy having it. And actually, something else I do want to bring up is that you do get a lot of screen for the size of the phone. My one roommate, she has the iPhone 8 Plus, and yeah, the 8 Plus is a lot bigger than the iPhone X, but we still pretty much have the same screen size. Hope you guys enjoyed my non-traditional phone review. And I hope that some of the things I said are able to help you out in making your decision. See you guys later.